What is up, guys? It is Joe back again talking about the Kansas State Wildcats. And in case you didn't know yet, your boy's voice sounds bad. It's losing. It's either on the way back or on the way out. Either way, not 100%. So I was faced with an impasse this morning of, do I want to record a video talking about something I care about with an awful voice, or do I want to not record a video? Had to go with the latter. We're talking about K-State. Doesn't matter how scratchy I sound. But even though, and I want to say this not lightly, but even though we've experienced nothing but darkness for what feels about the past 2 weeks, we have some really great positives to talk about in today's video. And even though there's positives to talk about, I still want to clear this up real quick. I'm not moving past Richard Linton. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, that's in the past. We're good now. Dude is still not a good president. Don't think he should be fit to run Kansas State, but I'm going to focus on the positives. I'm going to choose to focus on positives right now, but I'm not just dismissing that and tossing it behind me and not worrying about it. Linton still does not deserve to be president of Kansas State. If you want my thoughts on that, I posted in a recent video, but today's video is going to be about some good things because we of all people deserve some good things. I'm not saying we're entitled to it. I'm just saying we deserve a win, man. Luck should start working our way at some point. And today that paid off. We deserve something good. Something good did happen. We'll talk about the great recruitment going on the football field, as well as the basketball coaches tracking miles across the nation to see some of the top recruits in the class of 2025 on the basketball court. I am stoked to talk to you guys about both sides, K-State basketball and football today. But before I do, quick reminder to subscribe to the channel. If you like Kansas State athletics, I talk K-State basketball, K-State football, also drama with the university as of the past week and a half. I talk all that and more, so if you're interested, go ahead and consider subscribing. It helps me out immensely, and I do appreciate seeing each and every one of your beautiful faces. That was dumb. Before we get into things here, let me tell you this. I'm not going to sit here and say we made it. I'm not saying exhale. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is that it's funny in life when you feel like you just get kicked in the crotch repeatedly, and then things become a little bit better the next day. It's like, you know what? Let's throw them a bone. It's not just going to keep getting worse. Here's a bone for you. K-State had 3 different bones thrown to them in the last 2 days on the football side of things, as well as some great nuggets in basketball to talk about. Let's start with the football side of things here, because I'm sure that's what you guys are a little bit more eager to hear about as of right now. K-State had a great day recruiting for both at the high school level and in the transfer portal. The first thing that dropped was the other day. I can't remember if it was last night or the night before. I guess by the time you're watching it, the timeline might not make sense. But Easton Kitley, K-State gets a commitment from. He's the number 2 offensive lineman in the transfer portal. And in case you're curious, because people like to know the stars associated with that, he's been rated as a 4-star transfer. He's the second best player at the offensive lineman position in the portal. The dude's played every single position on the O-line except for center. He can plug and play similar to what Cooper Beebe did, where he can go left guard, right tackle, left, whatever you need from this dude. That's the type of dude this is. And he's got 3 years of experience starting in college football. So the good reps, the senior snaps, that's a huge deal for Chris Klieman and his bunch, especially after losing a lot of dudes. I mean, you basically lost your entire offensive line. Obviously, there's a couple guys like you keep Taylor Portier. He's coming back. You have a couple different guys on the O-line that we've heard a lot about or we've seen a lot of, like a guy like Carver Willis. You've seen a lot of him. He's back. This will be a good get. Because you're not exactly sure where he's going to play right now. My guess is left tackle based off the way we've seen some of the roster depth chart breakdowns ahead of the bowl game. I would expect Kitley to eventually become a left tackle for K-State. But then again, I'm not a coach. I don't know what I'm doing. However, one guy who knows what he's doing, Connor Riley. That's a huge get. Considering nobody knew. I mean, I'm sure there's some actual insider people with sources that knew that Kitley was in Manhattan, but I had zero idea this commitment was happening. I had no idea that there was any mutual interest here. You kind of just see the blessed to receive an offer from Kansas State University, scroll through on the timeline, that's all you see. So a lot of times that just goes like, oh, cool, we got, let's check it out. If you don't look immediately, if you don't save it immediately, it's gone. That whole thought is gone. So getting a guy like Kitley in the portal, that's massive. That is huge. I mean, this guy is graded higher than dudes that hit the portal from Oklahoma that are solid studs, guys that hit the portal from Indiana that are solid studs. So it's good to see K-State immediately bring back the beef. Shout out to the beef, by the way, wearing the beef hat. It is pretty sweet to see us reload on that because O-line is going to be a position where you really need depth. Obviously, it's one of the better positions on the roster right now, but that can change really quickly, especially after this season. We're going to have some guys come back. You're going to obviously lose a bunch of guys to the NFL draft into graduation, but getting Kitley's huge. Trae Davis, dude. Trae Davis commits to K-State today, chooses us over Washington State, Tulane, and I think he was UTSA. I forget off the top of my head. Trae Davis looks like a dog because he is a dog. The dude is a dog, straight up. 4-star receiver out of Texas. Always great players. I mean, it's not a guaranteed thing, but usually if you can get a top 250 guy, top 300 recruit across any recruiting service, that's a massive recruiting win. Especially out of the state of Texas, it's another thing as well, because that is kind of that's the hub where everybody goes. You look for dudes like that. You look for dudes like Trae Davis. K-State landed Trae Davis. He checks in as the 278th ranked player in his class, the 47th ranked receiver in his class, and the 45th ranked player in the state of Texas. That is a great get for Chris Klieman, especially trying to rebuild the receiver position. And there is that element of the Avery Johnson effect where it's like solid pass catchers want to play with a guy like Avery. I mean, straight up, that's where you want to be with. We've now seen 2 4-star receivers commit to K-State in the last month. If you go off the On3 index, I know that sometimes it's blurred a little bit with the full industry, but Trae Davis, huge guy to get. That's a great thing. Dude is lightning fast, runs a 4.3. I cannot wait to see him in Manhattan. And then this is what I love about Chris Klieman, because somehow, some way, Chris Klieman gets commitments when nobody knows anybody's being recruited or vice versa. Like, there is zero conversation in public between a player and Chris Klieman. And then on like a random Tuesday, you'll just see somebody announce like, at Taylor Britt, at Chris Klieman, can't wait to be there, Coach Clyde, Coach Mitt, whatever it is. There's a commitment announcement. Kian Payne, 3-star from the Kansas City area, went to St. Thomas Aquinas High School. Defensive lineman flipped from North Dakota State to join K-State. That's a big get. That's a good sign, man. Continuing to build depth. And I think like there's probably other programs around the nation where you look at a 3-star kid and you say, well, he's a 3-star, not like throwing him away, but you just kind of don't look at that the same way you look at a 4 or 5-star. What's great about Chris Klieman is this dude could look at a 2-star, 3-star and turn him into an NFL draft pick, a first-round NFL draft pick. I mean, he's got a proven roster of getting dudes to the NFL level. I never feel like I need to take anybody for granted. When they commit to K-State, you've got a good one. He's also a big dude. I mean, the dude's listed at 6'4", 255 as an incoming freshman. That'll be good. The dude will hit the weight room with K-State as well, and that's only going to continue to improve. So good to see the commitments across that, and just a good positive to get on the roster. But I'm going to flip it over to basketball here a little bit to give you a quick speed recap of what happened on the basketball court, what's happening next. K-State, even though there's a lot going on with K-State basketball, the guys obviously have some days off before the Christmas break. K-State is not pumping the brakes. Jerome Tang, the coaching staff, not pumping the brakes whatsoever. They met with 8 different top 100 prospects in the last 3 days across the nation. They're in Houston, they're in Atlanta, they're in Washington, D.C., Baltimore. They're going everywhere, man. And I could be wrong in some of the places, but like you go to Houston, you go to Atlanta, you go out west to Arizona, you see all this stuff. Like, it's incredible to see the commitment they have. And they're traveling 4 deep to each one of these. Like, it's not just like, you don't just send out an assistant coach or a GA or something like that. It's Coach Tang plus 3 dudes at all time. You got Jerome Dowling, friend of the show, I would say. Shout out to Jerome Dowling, the Maestro of Doom. When the Maestro of Doom pulls up to your recruitment, commit on the spot, dog. That's just what it is. Commit. But in all seriousness, let me read you through some of these dudes. Jalen Reese, a 2025 point guard. He's the 79th ranked player in the class of 2025, the 12th ranked point guard in this class, and the 10th best player in the state of Florida. At 79, at the national rank of 79, this is the lowest recruit that they spent the weekend with. Think about that. This is the lowest dude that they stopped to pay a visit with. At 79. That's insane. And I'm not trying to say that as like talking down to the dude whatsoever. That's not the case. I'm just saying how incredible that is when we're less than 2 years removed from Bruce Weber being like, no, you can't recruit to Manhattan. It's so hard being close to Kansas City, but not close enough. And you got a college basketball blue blood in Kansas right next to you. It's just impossible to recruit to Manhattan. I mean, Bruce Weber, we're hoping for a top 500 player. We're at the point now where not only are we expecting to win, you're expecting to get some of these guys. And that is crazy how quick that turnaround's happened with Jerome Tang. But it's a testament to the culture. It's a testament to the guys you bring into the locker room. And you've already seen how the freshmen on the court can impact the game. Obviously, Data Ames, and then you get Michaela Rich, you get RJ Jones, who are all solid prospects in the top 100. I think Michaela Rich snuck into the top 100 there towards the end of the recruiting cycle, but I'm not entirely sure. It was pretty close either way. Second dude they stopped to talk, Malik Thomas, 2025 combo guard. He's the 6th ranked player in the class of 2025, the top combo guard in the country, as well as the number 1 player in the state of Pennsylvania. Malik Thomas, that name has been hovering around K-State fans for a while. He's going to be one that has a ton of recruitment and a ton of people going after him. I'm excited to see how his relationship with the staff goes and see those pieces where they talk about the recruitment a little bit more. Then you got Cam Ward, 56th ranked player in the class of 2025, the 12th ranked power forward and the top player in Maryland. It's impressive to see K-State get to the point where we're getting the top dudes in certain states or getting conversations with those dudes or official visits in that sense. Second day, so that was all just on Monday. Just on Monday, they met with those 3 dudes. Tuesday, they met with 3 more dudes and some familiar names on this list. John Clark, class of 2025, he's a center in that class. The 37th ranked player in his class, the 4th ranked center, and the top player in the state of Texas. That's always huge. Akai Fleming, another name that K-State fans have seen popped up a lot. 2025, he's a shooting guard, 44th nationally in his class, the 7th ranked shooting guard, and the 7th player in the state of Georgia. Then they rounded out Tuesday with Nigel Walls. He's the 40th ranked player in his class, the 9th ranked power forward, and the 3rd player in the state of Texas. So just on Tuesday alone, you talked to 2 of the top 3 dudes in the state of Texas. That's pretty dang crazy. I mean, that's what the staff has proven. And then they round out on Wednesday before finally ending up back in Manhattan. These are the last 2 dudes they talked to. Then they rounded out with King Grace. You probably saw that post on Twitter if you did, or X. You might have seen that, you might not have. It was the post basically saying what Coach Tang and his staff had done in the last 3 days in terms of meeting people. King Grace, 34th nationally in his class, 6th ranked shooting guard in his class, as well as the 2nd ranked player in the state of Texas, behind John Clark, we talked about earlier, and just ahead of Nigel Walls, we talked about earlier, and the big dog of the class. I mean, there's a lot of big dogs here. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to just be like there's one guy that stands out above the rest, but from a national standpoint, talking to Koa Pete is big. Koa Pete, class of 2025, he's the 4th ranked player in the class, the 2nd ranked power forward in the class, and the number 1 player in the state of Arizona. These are all dudes that Coach Tang and staff were able to sit down with, talk to about Kansas State, take photos with, whatever you want to do. That's pretty dang cool. That is a really cool thing to see that continue to step forward, to elevate. And if nothing else, I think for K-State fans that are worried about losing Coach Tang, and obviously that is always going to be a question. Is it going to be something like, if Richard Linton stays, who wants to work for that dude? I'm not going to bring that part up. I'm not going to fault Coach Tang for that. But what should feel pretty good is the fact that he's still going out there to recruit. He's still going out there and doing the things. He's still really passionate about making Kansas State basketball the best it can be. And that's just who he is. I mean, that's just the guy he is. But getting to see some of those dudes pop up, some of the names pop up, that is a huge deal, especially thinking about where we were 2-3 years ago under Bruce Weber in that, that era where, like, you landed a guy like Nigel Pack, that's a huge one. But you do get a lot of those guys that are 340th nationally or 400 nationally. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, those dudes are solid players. They can develop. But seeing the level of recruiting that we're able to do this fast is unbelievable, how quick this turnaround has happened. So I just wanted to run you through some of the recap on the recruiting for both sports and remind you guys that good things are ahead. I promise you they're ahead. It's going to take us some time. We're going to have to figure it out together, but I promise you good things are ahead. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. We're going to talk about Kansas State basketball here on the 17th. I should let you guys know if you're going to be in Kansas City for the K-State Wichita State game, I'll be there with my girlfriend. So if you see us walking around, come say hi. I'd love to meet you guys. But guys, I'm going to end up cutting this video off. I will talk to you guys in the next one. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go Cats.